Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Talking Smack. I am your host, Josh Scar. We are still very loud. 1 second here while I adjust. That's a little better. We're talking superheroes, movies, animation, and comics. With me again this week is Alex Lasden. Alex, welcome back again.
Hello.
And this week, our primary topic is one that I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy. No, I don't care. I'm not good at teasing. So we're going to be talking the live-action Disney movies, and are they necessary? So that's our primary topic, but we got some news to get through first today. First things first, Wonder Woman has been shut out of the Oscar nominations, while Logan was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Some people view that as a big step for comic book movies. I honestly never understood the love and hype that Logan had going for it after it came out. I thought it was a very okay X-Men movie. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't hate it, but I don't get where some people are calling it like the best comic book movie ever.
And that's because you're wrong. It is obviously one of the best comic book movies ever.
Disagree.
It's good. It's goodish. It got nominated.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with goodish.
It got nominated for a Best Adapted Screenplay or something?
Yeah, which I think is kind of weird because it basically took the idea of Old Man Logan being a road trip kind of adventure, and that was it.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of like nod, especially since I guess if you have any comic book movie now, they're just going to say if it's going to be nominated at all
because it's a pre-existing character, property, whatever.
Yeah, it's just going to be like, oh, it's Best Adapted Screenplay, even though it's an original story using like different characters. But okay, I think it was a nice little nod. I'm a little surprised that maybe Hugh Jackman didn't kind of get a token nod for maybe Best Actor. Just kind of throw him in, one of those throwaway like.
Oh God, no! If he was going to get a nomination for Best Actor, it would have had to have been for Greatest Showman, which I have not seen. But I don't see how you can nominate him for Logan. I know the Academy loves the yelling stuff, but he was more growling and like being feral than he was yelling in the way the Academy enjoys.
Yeah, but they always, every year, they give one or two token nominations for like you appeared in a movie and it's been like 20 years kind of thing. I mean, Meryl Streep got her 45th one because she walked on screen. Really? Was it last year? I think it was like Ricky and the Jets or whatever that movie was. She threw a nomination for that. They always toss something out that's worthless, like, oh yeah, you're nominated for something. I don't know what kind of campaign they had to sneak in a Best Adapted Screenplay.
I know there's a lot of people who are upset that Wonder Woman was shut out. I think Wonder Woman's earned its praise. It's an above average action adventure movie, but it's not like a great movie by any means. It's getting a lot of praise pretty much simply because it's the best female superhero movie ever, which is not a hard mountain to climb at this point, which is sad but true.
It was an action flick, and it was just a well-done one. I don't really see the need to give Gal Gadot an Oscar and Chris Pine a nomination. I don't understand the need for any of that. So, okay, he didn't get nominated. Oh, well. There's plenty of movies that don't get nominated.
Well, if Chris Pine had gotten nominated, people would have flipped out even more. Like, oh, Wonder Woman can't get a screenplay or even like a token Best Picture nomination, but fucking Chris Pine can get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor? Okay.
Well, they don't really give Marvel movies many nominations for CGI or any of that crap anyway. I mean, the recent Star Wars movies haven't exactly been given a ton of nominations for stuff, even though apparently this one got a few, which I was kind of surprised by. I guess that's Disney trying to show people that they made a good movie still, despite all the backlash, but whatever.
I think the most competitive category from the things I've seen was costume design, which I think the two front runners in that category are The Post and Beauty and the Beast. Those are like two of the Academy's like number one things that they always give the award to. Is you have like Renaissance costume design, and then you have like 1950s, 1960s U.S. fashions also. So like those are the two things that almost always win in the Academy. So I feel like one of those two is going to win that. But everything else in the categories, like I haven't seen many movies this year, especially the artsy-fartsy ones. So I have no idea what's going to win.
Well, they haven't hit our area yet, which is always really, really sucky. Thankfully, I'm seeing The Shape of Water this weekend, and I hope to sometime next weekend get to see The Phantom Thread because God bless Daniel Day-Lewis. I was actually a little surprised that the Phantom Thread, the costume designer actually got a nomination, and they didn't just say costume design by Daniel Day-Lewis, because he helped do some of those outfits, and he actually did his own sewing and all that stuff for the movie. And so none of those little insert shots of stitching together costumes are anyone's hands but his, apparently. So. Yeah.
So the big question as far as the Daniel Day-Lewis is, does he get another Best Actor nomination, especially considering this is his last movie, allegedly? Or does Gary Oldman take it for his portrayal of Winston Churchill?
I really think it's one of those. Okay, so this is the weird part about it. So someone I never heard of, first a movie I've never heard of called Call Me by Your Name, Timothy Chalamet got one. Obviously he's not getting it. Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out. I actually thought that was kind of a weird kind of sneak in, because I thought he was good, but I didn't necessarily see Get Out getting anything but.
I think that's one of those token.
I mean, because I think Get Out had 6 or 7,
including Best Director.
Yeah, that did not surprise me, the Best Director thing, because it was a well shot, well focused movie, and he rightly deserved recognition for what that movie did. The writing credit, I kind of agree with, kind of don't, because there were some. I mean, basically that movie is an amazing twist that sells itself well. That didn't really surprise me either. But yeah, the actor thing was a little weird, because I think he does portray that part very well, and I've seen him in some other stuff that he's been very good in. Like he was in Black Mirror, an episode of that, which I really really loved. But that movie is a lot of him reacting to things versus kind of acting or emoting, in my opinion. But yeah, so he has his nomination. Then you have Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire, which I completely even forgot that movie existed. But then you have what are probably the two front runners, which is Daniel Day-Lewis and Gary Oldman. And I really think poor Gary Oldman is gonna suffer, because it's one of those kind of years of like, yes, Gary Oldman, this would be your year. You're well overdue. You really, really deserve an Oscar. But Daniel Day-Lewis is retiring.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. It's hard to bet against Daniel Day-Lewis, let alone Daniel Day-Lewis when he is allegedly retiring.
Yeah. So I really think it's that kind of situation. It's like the guy who did Lawrence of Arabia, whatever his name is. I apologize for forgetting his name. But like, he had been nominated so many times, and every year that he was nominated, he never got it. And then they were sure that this was his year, like a few years back, and someone else was giving it to him again.
So Wonder Woman getting shut out, I don't think it really deserved a Best Picture nomination. I don't have the list of nominees in front of me. I could pull them up.
That would be Call Me by Your Name. Never heard of it.
Which it sounds like all of these movies are very artsy fartsy. Like I think it feels like the Academy is almost overcorrecting in the wake of the like blockbuster era that we're in.
Mm-hmm. Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, token nod. I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, they're giving that to Christopher Nolan because it's Christopher Nolan.
Get Out, Lady Bird. I haven't seen, but I've been told I really need to see that. That's Greta Gerwig's coming of age story about was it Saoirse Ronan? Is that how you pronounce her name? It's some coming of age movie. It's apparently really good. She wrote and directed it. Got a lot of love. She came a few months ago when it came out. Greta Gerwig talked about how she got all the music rights for this by like writing the people directly, asking for them, because like this is like a late 90s, early 2000s coming of age movie. And
so you're talking about Saoirse Ronan?
Yeah, there we go. And she put out and she actually released the letters she wrote about how she loved these songs and how important they were to her, but her movie has no budget. Can she please borrow them for really, really cheap? And it was actually really cute. I haven't seen the movie, but I've been told it's good by someone who has seen it. The Phantom Thread, of course, was going to be nominated because Paul Thomas Anderson, that's what he does. The Post got a nomination. The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro's nod. And 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which I have no clue what that's about, but that's a long name, and I'm assuming that's the winner.
You think 3 Billboards is going to take it?
I have no clue what it's about. It's the weirdest sounding one, and in my opinion, probably the least heard of one, so that's probably the one that's going to win.
A mother personally challenges the local authorities to solve her daughter's murder when they fail to catch the culprit. I know that
that's the winner.
Sam Rockwell has been like sweeping all of the Best Supporting Actor awards. So I'm guessing he takes the Best Supporting Actor. This has quickly gone off topic. I didn't really want to talk Oscars just yet. Mostly just wanted to talk Wonder Woman. There could have been some kind of token nomination, but I mean, Costume design, they're not going to win.
No.
That's again it could be Phantom Thread as well, but that's going to Beauty and the Beast, The Post, or Phantom Thread. They're not going to get Best Adapted Screenplay, largely because it's a mostly original story outside of borrowing the character of Wonder Woman.
Right. Adapted screenplay, probably Aaron Sorkin for Molly's Game, because he hasn't had a win in like 30 years.
Yeah, and then you're also not going to get Wonder Woman into Best Picture, even though they do expand the Best Picture nominations to 10 movies.
But it doesn't have to be 10. It can be 4, it could be 3, it could be 1.
I think they have to have a minimum. I think they have to have a minimum of 5.
There's a minimum of 5, yeah.
There's just nowhere where it's going to win, and I don't think that the token nomination is going to go by just because.
Right.
I mean, I obviously have no voice in the matter, but I would almost rather have no nominations than a token nomination.
Yeah.
Especially like, Suicide Squad's an Academy Award winning movie for Best Makeup.
It still bothers me because I know this is inobjective, but it was up against Star Trek 3, whatever the heck.
Beyond.
There we go, Star Trek Beyond. And that was all practical effects for a lot of that makeup for the aliens and stuff. I'm like, really? You're giving it to him because he's a lizard man?
Yeah,
there was like
much.
4,500 different designs, and I didn't realize that one alien was holy crap.
I know who you're talking about, Jada or whatever her name was.
No, the alien, the bad guy alien who's actually...
Oh, Idris Elba?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was Idris Elba until like halfway through the movie.
Well, I don't think he was in the actual makeup. I think once they like started revealing who his character was, that's when they put Idris Elba into the character. But like everything before then, I think it was just voice work.
Yeah, but I didn't even realize then, and then they finally showed him. I'm like, oh.
That's a really weird place for Idris Elba to show up. Why is he... Oh my god, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, you should have realized from the voice, but that was really cool. And whatever. Suicide Squad, Academy Award winning movie. Whatever.
Yeah, I still can't believe that Sophia Boutella was Jayla, the alien, like all the white. If you don't know who she is, she's probably most notably known as the Mummy right now, from the new Tom Cruise Mummy movie.
Oh, she was also
the henchman in Kingsman.
Yep,
the first Kingsman movie.
The Blade Lady.
Yeah, the Blade Legs. So that's where she's from. But yeah, I did not know that was her in Star Trek Beyond at all.
So, quick speculation. Best director, we got Dunkirk, who's Nolan, Get Out's Jordan Peele, Lady Bird's Greta Gerwig, Phantom Thread's Paul Thomas Anderson, or The Shape of Water's Guillermo del Toro. What's your gut reaction?
My gut reaction would be Guillermo del Toro.
That's my gut. I almost think they're going to give it to Peele, though. It's just something about like the whole it seems like it's slightly over-nominated because I think it has 6. But at the same time, it's so weird that it's in there, and yet they're not going to give it to Nolan because they're just dicks. And I mean, that's the rumor. The rumor is that apparently they hate him. The Academy thinks he's too involved with himself, self-involved, and too...
His process.
Yeah. Ladybird, I can see them giving it to it just because it's like this movie's been under the radar and kind of an overcorrection kind of thing. I haven't seen it. It may be amazing. I don't think they're giving it to Paul Thomas Anderson because he already has one, I believe, for Magnolia. Is that what he has it for?
I think so.
Or is it Punch Drunk Love? One of them. He has.
I don't think it was Punch Drunk Love.
But then we're down to Get Out or The Shape of Water, and I can almost see them giving it to Jordan Peele because the movie was so early but so important. Because this was a February or March?
It was a February release.
Yeah, and it's maintained relevance. I can almost see them giving it to him. But my gut says Guillermo del Toro, just because...
His visual style is so amazing.
Yeah. I really do need to see Lady Bird. I've heard way too much about it.
So, moving on from our tangent within the Wonder Woman topic of getting shut out.
One more thing.
Oh my god.
How did Boss Baby get a nomination over Lego Batman?
Not only that, but we also mentioned off the air that Cars 3 got shut out.
Yep.
I know Cars 2 didn't get nominated, but Pixar is almost always nominated. You would think that Cars 3 would get the pity nod or the token nod.
Well, they had Coco. That was them.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess they figured they didn't want to give the studio 2, which, I mean, they've done that for Disney for years.
Ever, yeah. Okay, we can go on.
So, yeah, moving on. Mission Impossible 6 the title for the movie has been revealed. The July 27th, 2018 release will be called Mission Impossible Fallout.
Every time I hear it, I really start thinking Mission Impossible Fallout, New Vegas.
Exactly.
And
Tom Cruise shared a couple of images. One is him hanging out of a helicopter, and then I know Henry Cavill tweeted out an image of him hanging out of a van
Yeah.
But I think the van is stationary in the image. So he's just like, I'm not going to be outdone by Tom Cruise. Look at me hanging outside this minivan.
A day or two ago, Rebecca Ferguson tweeted a picture of herself, which was her with a gun. And it was like a kind of a close-up shot. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yes, I'm excited and surprised that they're bringing back Rebecca Ferguson. I guess it just speaks to how well she did in Rogue Nation.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting they brought her back because they've kind of abandoned most of the... Well, other than the tertiary characters, they've kind of just abandoned people as each movie.
Well, they're bringing back Ving Rhames for this one, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's the only one who's been in each one, which is weird.
Was he? He showed up at the end of Mission Impossible 4.
Yeah.
Ghost Protocol, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
And then was he in Rogue Nation?
Yeah, he was in it.
Okay, I don't remember. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
He's been the...
they called him up once they went rogue.
Yeah, he's been the first. He was big in the first two, and the first three, and then he was token nod in the fourth one. He was back again in the fifth one. His wife from the third, was that the fourth or fifth one where they like reference that like he broke up with her to protect her kind of thing?
The fourth one.
Yeah,
that's where he and Ving Rhames met up. They met up like outside of her work or something.
Yeah,
or her apartment.
Yeah, and she was like walking by.
Something. Ghost Protocol is so good. So
I like Rogue Nation. I mean,
Rogue Nation is really good, but I personally still think Ghost Protocol is better.
Oh, well, no. Ghost Protocol is probably the best out of all of them. Rogue Nation, I like that they started with the massive stunt first, hanging outside the airplane and all that crap. And then each stunt seemed to get a little bit smaller as the movie went on, which I thought was kind of a weird, but really cool.
Well, I mean, you have the whole liquid coolant pool thing that Tom Cruise did where he's underwater for like 8 minutes and it's almost like a real-time moment in the movie.
No, yeah, no. I'm just saying it was neat. So in terms of like the whole like danger, well, yeah, he could drown.
Exactly.
But
knowing Tom Cruise, he probably trained to hold his breath for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, he said he got, I think he said he got up to 6.5, almost 7, which is just nuts. I'm excited for this one. I mean, I am not intrigued at all by the pictures just because, okay, it's Tom Cruise outside of a helicopter. What's the context? How little wireage did he actually have, and how's that going to look in the movie?
Trucking right along here. There are scriptwriters on hand for a Black Widow movie, which may very well be slated to be coming in 2020, which one kind of spoils the fate of Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
Because I don't think they're going to retread the ground that was covered in Age of Ultron. So I don't think they're really going to do an origin story. If they're learning their lesson from Spider-Man Homecoming, they should avoid the origin story because we've been dealing with Black Widow for what? Iron Man 2, Avengers, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Age of Ultron. So for 5 or 6 movies, we've been with Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow. So I don't think we really need to do an origin story. If we just get a fun spy espionage movie in the vein of like Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, I think we're in good hands with this movie. But obviously we need to know if it's an origin story. If Black Widow doesn't actually make it through Infinity War or Avengers 4, then it might backtrack to a different story, but I don't think it needs to be an origin.
No, at this point, it shouldn't be an origin story, and I'm not sure we particularly need one. I've always found her character to be slightly uninteresting is just like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye is slightly uninteresting. It's more like they're there. Unfortunately, the CinemaSins guys have ruined it for me, because anytime like they talk about a trailer or something like that, it's always like, yes, there's the people with the superpowers, and there's 2 humans with a gun. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. That's really weird. I think that if they're going to actually do a Black Widow movie, it has to be very grounded, because her fighting gods would be pointless.
Yeah.
Or her fighting aliens would be pointless.
Well, I mean, she took on some Chitauri at least.
Yes, with her PP7.
Hey, she also stole their staffs.
That's true, she did. And somehow she did not die getting blown up on that armored truck in Civil War, which was a really weird scene. When you think about it, Steve not dying kind of makes sense. Her not dying from that grenade explosion inside of a van being thrown out of it, a little weird. But,
well, I know in the comics they do say that she's had the Russian house or whatever, the Red Sparrows or whatever you want to call them. They gave her,
Isn't the Jennifer Lawrence movie?
Yeah, exactly. That's the joke I'm making.
Oh, okay.
Way to ruin the joke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the comics, she's given a form of the super soldier serum, which is why she doesn't really age as well in the comics.
Yeah.
In the comics at this point, everyone's basically had the super soldier serum because they have to find a way for them to not age.
I'd be more interested. I'm hoping that it's more of not necessarily an origin story like how she became Black Widow. But the most interesting parts of her I found were the kind of random discarded elements of Age of Ultron, like referencing like that ballet school she was at, which was the Secret Assassin School. And even though they didn't fulfill anything other than apparently her big secret is they made her sterile, I would like to see a little bit more of her training and what happened. So I mean, as long as it includes, I don't want an entire origin movie, but if they could, do some flashbacks with young Black Widow, that'd be interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a comic in like 2012 or 2013. I'm trying to look it up right now, just so I can note the writer of the series. Let's see here. No, it wasn't Mark Waid. That was the more recent run.
Her and Bucky running something together would be interesting.
Yeah, in the comics they have a history. They were both at like the same location, or they intertwined while Natasha was training and while Bucky was the Winter Soldier, and they actually ended up being in a romantic relationship.
Oh, that's right. She referenced in Winter Soldier that she's terrified of Bucky because he shot her.
Yeah,
that's right. She has that big wound across her abdomen.
Yep, no more bikinis for her.
Yeah, that's right. Oh. Okay, I'm more interested in a flashback movie now than I am actually an intro movie.
So the Black Widow comic I'm referring to, it's actually started in 2014, was written by Nathan Edmondson with art by Phil Noto, which the art is amazing. It looks like watercolors. The basic overall storyline over the 20-issue arc of this story, or of this comic, is she's basically trying to wipe away the quote-unquote red in her ledger. So she's like trying to do good deeds to outweigh the bad deeds when she's not doing her Avengers stuff, which I would be cool with something like that too.
That'd be interesting. I just don't want an actual solid 2-hour or teenage.
This is how Black Widow joined S.H.I.E.L.D.
I can't even remember her name right now. She's just Black Widow.
Natasha Romanoff.
Natasha Romanoff, thank you. There we go.
Unless you're referring to her actual Russian name, which is Natasha Romanova.
Yay.
I'm sorry, Natalia Romanova.
Natalia.
So in the comics, when Bucky talks to her, he actually calls her Natalia.
Moose and squirrel.
Exactly. And sticking in the comic area, Action Comics number 1000 is set to come out this April. And Superman is getting his red trunks back.
See, he should never have given them away.
They really shouldn't. Like the red trunks just make the suit look more appealing for some reason. When they've gone to the Man of Steel suit, I don't know, there's just too much blue.
Yeah.
In the movies, it kind of works because you don't really see the lower half too much.
Well, yeah, and the Man of Steel suits really I just find weird. I don't get with this with the little gold hip bands that kind of like form his pelvis.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like some kind of belt, but it serves no purpose.
And there's a little buckle for some reason. I mean, I guess that's hiding the zipper or something. But if they're going to bring back the actual traditional red and blue suit, good. It should be that.
Yeah, when they rebooted to the New 52, they adopted the Man of Steel suit, but he also had like a collar on the suit, and the sleeves like ran over like the tops of his hands as well.
Yeah, it was weird.
Which made no sense when he's like Clark Kent. He's supposed to be able to just rip off his shirt and go flying, but he's always going to have that blue and red collar sticking up on his neck and the blue and red sleeve coming out from under his sleeve. And everyone's going to be like, hey, Clark, what's going on there? Well, nothing.
No, he wears a lot of turtlenecks and he wears a lot of fingerless gloves.
Well, the neck can be covered by, wearing a suit and tie. Okay. You got the collar coming around from the suit shirt or whatever you want to call it.
You can wear a dickie.
He's not Fred from Scooby-Doo. I'm glad at least for one issue in Action Comics 1000 that the red trunks are coming back. I believe Action Comics 1000 is also featuring a story by Brian Michael Bendis, which I believe is his first foray into the DC universe under his new contract.
Well, that's going to be interesting. It's a lot of writing on him. He's got a milestone, and he has to make sure the red trunks are back. Got to write a good story, at least a good hook.
Speaking of good hooks, John Cena is in talks to star in Duke Nukem, the movie.
Balls of Steel. What a terrible time for this movie to come out.
Yeah, really. There could not be a worse time for this movie to come out, really.
But there's nothing interesting about Duke Nukem anymore. I mean, come on.
I mean, they could play up the Deadpool stuff and just do fourth wall breaking kind of things, but it's been done.
Duke Nukem 3D is a great new game. I still love that game. I played every once in a while when I would break out my N64. But Duke Nukem Forever was a pile of garbage. I mean, it was it was a series of levels from generations just mashed together, and they hope it played well. I mean,
Duke Nukem Forever was also in development for like 17 years.
Yeah, and it felt like, and it played like it too, because there's like, this mechanic and that mechanic, and this graphic is good. This one's terrible. This one looks from PS2. This one looks like 1998. This one looks fantastic. But it didn't do anything for me when I played it. It was just kind of like, oh, yeah, this is really irrelevant. I mean, I did kind of laugh that it starts off with like him playing a video game version of himself and getting... Yeah, no. No. But I gotta say though, if John Cena accepts it and begins filming it, they did pick a good actor for it.
Yeah, he definitely fits the role.
Yeah, he looks like him. Just throw a little blonde flat top on him.
Exactly. Which, I mean, you don't even really have to do that. You can just stick him with the military look that he has. I mean, he's it's not like his hair is too dark.
No. Oh, that's terrible. I mean, I still have horror flashbacks of that Doom movie with The Rock. Not The Rock.
Yeah, it was The
Rock. What? Yeah, I think
it was The Rock and Carl Urban.
Yeah, I liked aspects of that movie so much. They're like little like things. I'm like, oh, this isn't terrible. And then to give the fans what they wanted, that entire
first person perspective moment
for like 15 minutes, I swear it
wasn't that long. It
felt like it. It was random. It was out of nowhere, and of course he had the BFG because you have to have the BFG. No. Now, if this was the mid-'90s and Arnold Schwarzenegger was Duke, okay, I'd be in. Because that would be a timeless piece of crap.
And it would also be fairly timely.
Yeah.
But this is striking when the iron is like rusted and in the garbage dump. So moving on, because that's pretty much all we have to say about Duke Nukem.
Balls of Steel.
that better be the subtitle of the movie.
That would be so good.
That'll be the sequel. They'll just call it Duke Nukem. Pacific Rim Uprising had a new trailer released. Gives us a little bit more details on the story. Also reveals that there is an evil Jaeger running around, and that they are the reason that the kaiju are coming back. Shows that they go to the spot in I think it was the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
And they opened up the portal, the dimensional rift that brought the kaiju. So now the question becomes, who are the evil Jaegers? How are they financed? And what is their motivation for bringing the kaiju back?
Yeah, the trailer looks really good. I'm a little kind of nervous of how they're going to treat Mako Mori, because she was so important to the first movie, and now she seems like she's like some kind of random executive wearing an all-white suit and looking kind of bitchy.
That makes me nervous that she's the one that is behind the evil Jaegers.
Yeah. Because
that seems to be like, oh, someone's become corporate and now they're evil.
Yeah, I hope not, and I hope it's not like revealed that she killed off Charlie Hunnam. That's kind of weird, because obviously he's not in this movie. And they're doing, it looks like they're doing a time jump of like maybe 5 to 15 years later.
I think it's supposed to be 15 to 20 because
really? Wow. Okay.
Idris Elba's character's son is fully grown, which we didn't even know he had a son. So
no, well, and then they're related because Mako Mori is his daughter. So I mean, they
adopted daughter, isn't it?
Yeah, but they have to know each other.
Yeah,
obviously,
which is probably how he gets into the Jaeger program.
Yeah. It just looks like good fun, man.
Yeah.
The first one was just cool. It was just a fun little weird mash 'em up, a little bit of heart, and it was good.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I do hope that the rift is explored. The drift is explored a little bit, because I found those scenes very interesting in the first movie and not quite explored to their fullest potential. Because it is kind of, because they say when you're in the drift, all memories are kind of shared and everything. So it's really kind of creepy, in my opinion, that like dad and son are drifting together, or three brothers. There's supposed to be kind of an underlying it's all about trust and compassion and love, and can you bond with each other? But if you stop and think about it, there's some really creepy crap that they could be explored. I mean,
it sounds like a completely different movie than giant robots fighting giant monsters.
No, I'm just saying, but you got that entire scene of him seeing the flashback of when Mako Mori was little and being saved by the Gypsy Danger, which was Pentecost was, and that she was scared and all that stuff, and Charlie Hunnam understood that. I'm just saying that I hope they do kind of explore some of the dangers of the drift a little bit, have a little bit of downtime to explore some of that and how people bond throughout it. If everybody can just pop up and be a Jaeger pilot in this one, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Got giant monsters to beat up.
Shut up. I've always wanted a live-action Neon Genesis Evangelion movie, and this is the closest I'm going to get.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're definitely going to be doing a review for this movie. I may not be a part of it because I will have a few-week-old baby living in my house.
She's going to love it.
I wouldn't be surprised. She will be my daughter. I'm excited for it whenever I get the chance to see it, which hopefully will be. Hopefully, my wife will be awesome and let me go to a late Saturday showing when one kid's out and she can just rest with the new one. Definitely looking forward to that one. Moving on to the next topic. Ryan Reynolds' new production company, Maximum Effort, which I feel is aptly named. One, it's Deadpool's catchphrase outside of chimichangas, and which is more of a catchword. Ryan Reynolds being pretty much synonymous with Deadpool at this point, having a maximum effort. The only thing that I think would be better is if it's either in the Deadpool font when you see
that'd be great.
The production card, or you have actually Deadpool running around, if he can license out the rights to have Deadpool or something like that. But he signed an exclusive first look deal with Fox for 3 years, which basically runs through the Disney merger, where his production company can bring a script. It has exclusive rights to see it first, and they can choose to pass on it, or they can choose to run with the property. The first thing that they brought to Fox that has been approved is a Clue remake, which is awesome and terrifying all at the same time. One, you really can't remake Clue. That movie is a classic. It's a classic comedy movie.
Yeah.
And the fact that when people saw the movie, they aired it with alternate endings, and so people were talking about completely different things. I can't believe Mr. Mustard did it. What are you talking about? Mrs. White did it. It's amazing. You couldn't get away with that sort of thing today.
Well, they should.
They should, because with the internet, it would be amazing.
If they had any kind of gumption, they would do that. And this because it'd be so much easier to do it nowadays, because most of the movies are now no longer delivered on platters, and they have to actually remove the last reel to change things out. They're just delivered digitally. You can just sit there and play it and be like, all right, the 4 o'clock showing has ending 1, the 6:15 is ending 2, the 6:30. And that'd be great if they actually if they did it and they actually told it had Clue ending 1, Clue ending 2, and I would go see it just because that'd be fantastic. It is a little terrifying though, because Clue I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece and couldn't be touched.
I'm not saying it's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that it is a comedy classic.
Oh yeah, Tim Curry was really good in that, and I think of his one-liners and his creepiness or suaveness, however he was playing that. It's going to be a little hard to fill that appropriately.
Yeah, especially Ryan. I don't know if I said this, but Ryan Reynolds is slated to star in the remake.
Yes.
So I assume he would be taking over the Tim Curry role of the butler, or whoever would be the leading actor. I'm
hopeful for it. It's the writers are the guys who did Zombieland and Deadpool 1
and 2. Rhett
and
Reese and Paul Wernick. I'm assuming it's Wernick.
They also wrote that movie Life that was overlooked last year.
Yeah, I still need to see that. It hasn't shown up on any streaming services, and I'm not planning on buying it.
It's not that good, but it's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not worth the being overlooked. It barely made any money. My only disappointment is that it's not a Ryan Reynolds vehicle. It's actually a Jake Gyllenhaal vehicle.
Yeah, I heard Ryan Reynolds actually dies fairly quickly in the movie. I may have spoiled it.
I may not. I'm going to nod my head a little bit though.
If done well, and I think if they can keep the R rating, could be really funny and really good.
Oh yeah.
But it's going to be if Fox will allow it to be R-rated, which I think we're going to see a huge influx of R-rated movies from Fox, just because of the success of Logan and Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
So I think we'll get that R rating, so they'll be able to be a little more raunchy with certain things. But I do hope there's no token nudity in it.
No.
I don't care for that sort of thing. It just, if it feels forced, it doesn't belong.
Well, the writers that they have, I haven't seen a bad property out of them. So I'm assuming that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that they know what they're doing.
The Captain Marvel suit that Brie Larson will be wearing has been leaked. It is not the final suit, which none of this has been confirmed by Marvel, but you can look at the suit and be like, that's obviously not the final suit. It's this teal green sort of color with the navy blue that we see in the classic suit as well. We were shown concept art at San Diego Comic-Con with the classic navy blue bodysuit with the accents of red and gold. So obviously the suit that people have leaked photos of is not the final suit that Carol Danvers will wear in the movie.
No.
It's probably either Marvel's suit that he either gifts to her, or it's a Kree suit that is given to her, or she steals for some reason. It's obviously not her design or her final product. But the internet is freaking out about this thing. I don't know how many times I've seen people talking about how this is like a green screen sort of thing. Like, it's not green screen. It is not the bright green that you see for green screen. There's no motion capture markers anywhere, which the motion capture is like these weird little like gray triangle sort of things.
Yeah.
So like there's no motion capture stuff on there. That is the thing that we're seeing. Get over it. And people are already like photoshopping it, like, this is what it should look like. It's gonna be fine. Marvel translates their stuff really well. Look at every piece of concept art that they have released and look at what shows up in the movie. It is like 99.8% accurate.
Yeah, no, they need to just calm down, trust in Marvel, and realize that, maybe she gets a red suit later on. After all, the cars in the background look like late 80s.
I've seen one leaked image and not officially released by Marvel. Clearly, this is the only thing we're getting.
Well, I don't know who allowed that 80s Lincoln Junker to drive behind her on set. That's obviously very rude. I mean,
it's a 90s movie, so there's a bunch of old crappy cars in there.
It looks good. I liked it.
The suit looks great.
Yeah,
even if that teal suit was the final product, it looks great.
Yeah, no, it's a cool look. It basically, it's where there should be red. There's a teal color, and I am actually fine with that because in a large action scene, they need some differential between her and Captain America other than height. So if it is green, it's green. But whatever. At least it looks interesting and practical versus some of the weird suits that we've had throughout the history of time. So there's teal and blue. Yay.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be red and gold and white.
Yeah, I've been
Bald
meaning
eagle on her shoulder.
Since the image was leaked earlier on Thursday. I wanted to go back and look at the concept art, but I haven't in the time that the picture is released and we're recording this. But I'm sure if you go into the concept art that's revealed, I'm sure the Kree soldiers that are in there are wearing probably something similar, if not the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people are freaking out. They should be more excited that this movie is happening. Like, that's where I am right now. Captain Marvel. All love and credit to Avengers 4. Captain Marvel is my most anticipated movie comic book movie of 2019. I can't wait for that movie. Avengers 4 is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to tie up a lot of loose ends. It's going to be a little bit heartbreaking, I'm sure, because it's the end of an era. But Captain Marvel is she's such a great character. Carol Danvers is. And I can't, getting to March 19th, I think, or no, March... I don't even know right now. I think it's like March 15th or something, like March 8th of 2019 is going to it's going to be a long year and like month and a half right now.
You're not at all excited for Macy Williams' New Mutants for 2019?
No, I don't need Maisie Williams, and I'm only going to see New Mutants because of this podcast probably.
What about the X-Force movie in 2019?
I'll go see it, but again, not that excited. We were talking about this earlier too, where I think you and I were talking about like Deadpool. You're not excited for Deadpool?
Deadpool 2 trailer.
Deadpool 2 trailer. That's what we were talking about.
Black Panther, yeah.
Because it's going to be attached to Black Panther. And I was like, I'm more excited for Captain Marvel because I've seen Deadpool. I have seen a Deadpool movie now. I have not seen a Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And getting to see that Captain Marvel movie is going to be awesome. I still think she's showing up at the end of Avengers Infinity War.
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure the movie is either going to tease her with a post-credits scene, or she's going to show up and like it'll fade to black right there, or cut to black, not fade.
Yeah, I know. And like I said, I'm still hoping that for some reason she's the one that punches out Tony.
I don't think that'll happen. Marvel has been known to digitally remove and add people for trailers. I think that scene where all the like Captain America / Nomad Steve Rogers is running forward like Black Panther and Falcon. Yeah. I think there's gonna be more heroes in there. Like maybe even Carol Danvers will be flying down the middle.
Yeah.
I think Carol Danvers shows up somewhere in Infinity War. And then in our last bit of news, the Black Panther movie is tracking for a $100 million opening weekend. $100+ million opening weekend, which is not surprising considering it set the Marvel record for largest number of pre-sale tickets in 24 hours, in the first 24 hours of available tickets.
Good for it. I really, really hope it does well. probably was the best part of Civil War, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, the airport fight, of course, was good.
Yeah.
But he's had maybe 8-10 minutes of screen time total, somewhere in there. But he had this dignity and presence to him that was really cool. His
character arc was great. His character arc
Yeah.
was pretty central to the actual story and resolution of like what happened with the villain.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, he's maybe in 8 minutes of the movie and he had an arc. Yeah, his entire movie is he shows up, his dad gets killed, he goes hunting down for Bucky. He does something, I forget, there's some other scene with him.
Where Bucky is in holding and Bucky breaks
You're right.
out because he gets the Winter Soldier mind wipe thing happening. And then he has a hand-to-hand combat
You're
with
right.
Bucky.
Yeah, he has that cool hand-to-hand combat scene.
Out of the suit, too.
Yeah, and then he stops the bad guy from killing himself. That's what, 4 or 5 scenes, maybe 8 minutes screen time? And yet he had this dignity, this presence to him. He had an arc that worked. And now he has his own movie. And the only reservation I have about that movie is Michael B. Jordan has a Black Panther suit too. And they're going to fight each other. One's gold, one's purple. That's my only reservation about the movie. Everything else about the movie, the way they've done, the way that looks like the culture is, the way that the society's hidden, the way that they've stylized the movie, it looks like we're getting this really just cool, interesting movie away from everything else Marvel's doing. I mean, they haven't shown Bucky at all, which I was kind of surprised by because I was assuming Bucky would be his sidekick or something, you know?
I think Bucky's being saved for a post-credits. Something's obviously going to happen in the post-credits scenes that sets up Infinity War. Mm-hmm. We have the teaser at the end of Ragnarok, so obviously they're either like I think either Steve is going to show up and be like something's coming, or he's like if they reveal an Infinity Stone in Wakanda, which I think the Infinity Stone has to be in Wakanda just because there's no other reason for all that action to be happening around Wakanda in the Infinity War trailer.
Yeah,
something's going to happen with the Infinity Stone. Like it's going to light up, and they're going to know something's coming.
Yeah, I think that Marvel's being really smart. I think Marvel made a lot of missteps in Phase 2 with being way too controlling with their directors, way too much pressure about you have to build up for.
You have to set up the next thing. You have to set up the next thing.
You have to set up the Avengers. It's all about the Avengers. You can do your own movie, but you have to do the Avengers. But we're in Phase 3, and the movies have all felt a little bit different. A little bit their own stylization, and they're giving the directors more reign. Damn it, what's his name?
Taika Waititi?
Yeah, Taika Waititi basically said, he has said repeatedly, he handed in a script, they went, okay, cool, shoot it. And when he gave him a cut that removed all the jokes, they went, what did you do? And he put in 30 minutes of jokes. So
his original cut was like 100 minutes, and it had little to no jokes.
And they were like, what have you done? James Gunn has said that they've given him like 2 script notes for both of his scripts of his movies and let him do it. I haven't heard Ryan Coogler, I believe is this director's name.
Yeah.
I haven't seen or heard of what he said about this movie yet. Like, you know, because they haven't really started the press tour because we're still about 3 weeks out. So we should get the early screening reactions in about a week because Marvel's only is about 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
And then the press tour should start and we should see what this director says. And I am curious because they had offered the movie to the lady who's doing The Wrinkle in Time, Ava DuVernay.
Couldn't tell you.
I'm not sure what her if I'm pronouncing her name right, but she went and did A Wrinkle in Time instead. They offered it to her, and she was like, "I'm not interested in this." And then they offered it to him based on the strength of what he did with Creed.
Creed was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, Creed's a really good movie. Creed 2.
Well, Creed 2's not being... I think Stallone is directing that one?
No, Stallone passed it off to somebody else.
Yeah, but Coogler's not coming back, which is a little
not.
Unfortunate. But I think that's because he's doing this with Black Panther, where I think Creed 2 is now filming, or they're about to film.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they need Ivan Drago's son. Whatever. He's in it, apparently.
Because Stallone's obsessed with the past, and he's got a smaller universe than the Star Wars universe does.
But I really want to see what this director says, because it seems like Marvel was a little too tight-fisted and drove people away, and now they seem to be, releasing their hold,
Well, I think that was a lot to do with Ike Perlmutter as well. Ike Perlmutter famously tried to reduce the Civil War movie budget in half, and Kevin Feige just came out and said he went to the Disney execs and was just like, I can't work with this man. He is handcuffing and just destroying what we're trying to do. And so they said, here's a compromise. Perlmutter, you get the movie division or the TV division, and Kevin, you get the movie division. You guys will no longer talk to each other. You will both come to us for any questions or budget requests.
Yeah, I've heard some that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is really starting to feel that like this season is like a bottle season or something like that. Like they're all shooting it in like one space station location or something.
They were for a while. They've moved out of there though. But I mean, this season was actually ABC wanted to just outright cancel the show, and Disney said no.
Yeah.
So they had to like rush everything. So I think the reason that they're in one setting is largely because they had to fit everything around that setting because they needed to like get other sets built and get scripts written.
I've also heard they've also slashed the budget every season though. But I mean, nobody's watching it on Friday nights, and Humans has been quietly canceled.
It existed. That's why it's canceled. It doesn't need to be quietly canceled. Like, I think Disney or ABC should just loudly be like, "Yeah, no, sorry about this."
Well, the funny thing is, apparently, if you go to their homepage and actually like go to like the Direct Humans link, well, it's not, the Inhumans is no longer even an option for shows anymore. But if you like try to go to the direct link, it gives you like the lost logo of like you've stumbled away from us or something like that. So that's funny. I really, really hope Black Panther is good.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why it won't be. Like you said, all of these Phase 3 movies have been really good. Directors have been able to kind of do what they want to do. Yeah, I'm excited for this one, and obviously getting really excited for Infinity War. We're at this point we're about
5 months,
16 weeks away.
Yep.
Or no, it's not 16 because we were 17 away from it by January 1st. So at this point we would be 14 weeks away, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very exciting.
And then 2 weeks after that is Deadpool. And then a week after that is Han Solo. Yeah.
Which Mr. Sunday Movies through the Weekly Planet has pretty much confirmed that the trailer will be released on Super Bowl Sunday, February 4th. So we'll get our first look at what's going on with this movie.
By the way, if they do the whole Han Solo trailer and they say, and that's when they choose to announce coming in December, I am going to send you the longest ha 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 text.
You can feel free to do that. I don't think they're moving it.
No, at this point I don't think they're going to. But if they're going to, they would put it, when 120 million eyes are on it.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a really weird way to announce it, though.
Yeah,
but
who knows?
Especially with the way they've worked. If it for all of their December releases, they release the trailers in like April.
Yeah, but they always put out a teaser sometime in December.
They didn't do it for The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi teaser didn't drop until April of this year. They only did it The Force Awakens a year in advance because they wanted to build that hype train.
I thought there was a teaser of some kind.
Mm-mm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't get one. We didn't get The Last Jedi trailer until within the year it released. Yeah, Black Panther. Hope it's going to be good. It's going to at least make $100 million opening weekend. So our primary topic for this week is the live-action Disney remakes. Are they necessary? Are they good? What's coming up?
All right, so are they necessary? No. Are they good? Are they coming up? Unfortunately. All right, thanks everybody. It's been a great evening.
The Disney live-action remakes started with Maleficent, which I will maintain visually when they're in the forest and stuff is very pretty. Mm-hmm. And when they do the well scene from Sleeping Beauty, fantastic. And Angelina Jolie pulls out all the stops on that one.
Oh yeah,
like she nails that moment. But everything about Maleficent, other than that moment and the visuals, is awful.
I don't get it. They turned it into a date rape allegory, which I found really creepy. And I don't get why they need to take someone who's a wonderfully delicious villain, who's an iconic villain, and make it turn out that she's just misunderstood all along because men are evil.
They wanted to give it the Wicked twist. I don't know why. I never realized that Maleficent had horns until this movie.
Really?
Like, I just thought it was a hairdo because, like, she's just wearing the head covering.
No.
So I thought it was, like, her hair being styled to look like horns or something. Because in Sleeping Beauty, she never has them removed. She's just a green person.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever. Okay, maybe her hair is just designed that way. But, like, her wings are still alive and they can be reattached even though they've been, like, sawed off of her.
Weird.
Yeah, and...
she turned her cat into a dragon or whatever.
Yeah, and True Love's Kiss came from Maleficent to Aurora. And Elle Fanning is Aurora. Like, no thank you.
I didn't like that movie. But they're making a second one, so joy.
They're trying to, and I don't understand why. No. And then I forget the actor's name, but he was the guy from District 9. He played King... I think it's Prince Philip was the prince that's supposed to wake her up.
Yeah, he played the king.
Yeah, he played the king, and his accent was just so annoying. He wasn't menacing or anything. He was just like squirrely.
Yeah,
he was just always nervous and sweaty, and he just came off more as annoying.
Here's the thing. I hate that actor so much, but there's one role that I find him fantastic in. He was in A-Team, and that was a good movie. And he's the psychotic pilot in A-Team.
That's right, he is.
Yeah, I didn't like him in
Charlton Copley.
Yeah, I didn't like him in
King Stefan, that was his name.
I didn't like him in Elysium. I didn't like him in District 9. I hated District 9, actually. Didn't like him in Maleficent, which I don't know if that's like he's doing a good job then, because it's like, well, you're not supposed to like the king because he's an asshole who tricked her and then took her power after knocking her out. I don't know if that's the point, but there are plenty of villains that I like, and he just pisses me off every time I see him on screen.
In that moment, yeah, you're not supposed to like him, but there's not liking someone because they're a bad guy, like Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator.
Yeah.
And there's not liking someone because whatever they're doing on screen is annoying.
Yeah, it's
which is what Charlton Copley did as Stefan.
Yeah, which is what he did in District 9, which is what he did in Elysium.
And moving on to Cinderella then, from Maleficent. Cinderella starring Lily James, Cate Blanchett as the wicked stepmother, and King Rob from Game of Thrones as Prince.
Helen Bonham Carter as the fairy godmother in her brief scene.
And Haley Atwell as Cinderella's mother, which I love Haley Atwell, so it's always welcome to see her in any kind of movie.
Yes, she did a wonderful job of showing up for about 5 minutes and dying.
So Cinderella is very above average. It wasn't great by any means, but visually is really good.
Yeah, no, it's visually pretty. The dresses are pretty. The styling is very pretty. The glass slipper, of course, is a focus, is beautiful.
The glass slipper is one of my favorite parts because the movie was directed by Kenneth Branagh, and you can see a lot of like little Thor things that he picked up when he directed Thor, like the Rainbow Road kind of visual effect. So if you look at the Rainbow Bridge, not the Rainbow Road, that's Mario. If you look at the Rainbow Bridge effect in Thor, and then you go watch Cinderella, you can see kind of that same visual effect going on.
Yeah, a very beautiful little prism kind of thing going.
Yeah, exactly.
Cate Blanchett, I think a lot of it was her elevating the role of the evil stepmother. She added weight to the role and wasn't a two-dimensional character. Plus, there is this part at the end where, after the whole, you're evil and locking me away and you don't want me to be happy, she reveals her motivation behind why she did what she did, which really brought something to the character versus just, well, she married a dad, she wanted money, and fuck you, little girl. Yeah. Well, it's above average, there's no songs in it or anything. The dance was pretty.
A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. I think that's the song she's like humming when the prince hears her, which I guess at that point he's the king because his father dies.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was kind of an interesting change from the cartoon, because in the cartoon, his father throws the ball because he's just like, my son's sowing his wild oats. He needs to settle down and start having kids because I'm an old man. I want grandkids before I die. In this one, he's like, I want him to be happy and with someone before I die, which is going to be like tomorrow.
Yeah, they also do a little bit more about like the kingdom is at stake kind of thing.
Yeah.
You need to marry a princess so that the kingdom will be fine. We'll unite the two of them. Ours is a little tiny coastal kingdom. But it was a good movie.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. I definitely can't wait to show it to my kid when she's old enough. The next one we had was The Jungle Book, which technically visually very stunning. I mean, it's basically The Jungle Book, but I mean, you have great performances by Bill Murray, Idris Elba as Shere Khan.
Shere Khan.
I forget who plays like his Mowgli's wolf mother and everything, and Ben Kingsley was Bagheera as well. Christopher Walken is King Louie, the gigantic orangutan, which is like, I forget what the actual animal he's supposed to be is called.
Gigantus orangutan.
Sure. Which that's kind of weird, but again, like having Christopher Walken like pseudo rap sing "I Want to Be Like You" was so weird but cool at the same time.
It only works because it's him.
Exactly.
I mean, there's nothing in it but the fact that he did it.
Man cub, I want to be like you. Ooh.
Walk like you, talk like you. And the thing about it that
I need more cowbell.
The thing that works about that is that he's massive.
Yeah.
You don't really notice it because all the other little monkeys are kind of around him, but they're always shooting him like kind of far away. But then all of a sudden you start realizing like, isn't he kind of big? And some of the other little monkeys are crawling him. And you're just like, holy crap, he's huge.
Yeah, and that was kind of a cool creative decision that they took with that. I still found it a little weird watching Baloo as like a real bear. Like visually it looked great, but in my mind, Baloo is always going to be this Disney character that is kind of like a bear, but doesn't really look like a bear.
That was Lupita Nyong'o is the wolf mom. Yes, and then Scarlett Johansson puts in a token appearance as
Ka.
Yeah,
she has that seductive, smoky voice.
Right. Just do a pack of marbles real quick, film, record for 20 minutes. You're good. You're good.
I can visually I can understand the love that that the Jungle Book remake has. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why they have to make a sequel. Unless they're remaking the 1994 remake.
No, from what I've read this week about it, that the reason why they're shooting a sequel is because they actually didn't even finish the first book. Because remember, he's supposed to kind of like see a woman, and even though he's 8, all of a sudden go, "That's right, I like girls. I'm gonna wander to her and help her with her pot of water." But also, apparently, there's like 4 or 5 Jungle Book books.
Huh.
He actually wrote some sequels. Apparently. They're going to finish out the first book for the sequel and also start like the second or third book or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whenever he gets around to doing it, because he's currently doing what, Lion King, he said?
Yeah, Lion King is Jon Favreau's next project that they're currently filming. I want that trailer. I hope it comes with like Infinity War or something. I've heard they did like a shot-for-shot remake of the original trailer, which was A Circle of Life. But it's with the new visual effects from like the Jungle Book, but obviously they've had years to improve it.
Oof.
I want to see that. Mm-hmm. I heard people at D23 like stood up and cheered at that.
At this point, why don't you just go film real lions? Go film real lions and do the
do Homeward Bound.
No, the Babe thing of the mouth. Just la 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 la.
Baram you.
Beauty and the Beast, right?
Beauty and the Beast is next. Yes. Right. Beauty and the Beast, for me, I know you refuse to see this one.
Yes.
And it's because you love the original so much, and I guess you believe you were promised something.
Well, okay, so I love the first one. It's probably my favorite Disney animated movie. I even resaw it when they released it in theaters a few years ago with the added 3D, which by the way added nothing. In fact, it actually made it a little bit worse because there's this in the beginning when she's singing about her provincial life, she's up on like the little hilltop and she spins around. That in 3D is so terrible because you can tell it's like someone took a little cardboard cutout and just kind of rotated it. look, 3D. Woo! Now, of course, what was in 3D, which is the ballroom scene, which was computer animated, which I think Pixar assisted with, if my random factoids are correct. That was pretty. That was beautiful. But
yeah, that was their money shot.
Yeah, but there's nothing that it added to or took away from it. So when I first heard that they were going to do live action, I was all, boo. And then I heard Guillermo del Toro was attached to write and direct, and I was like, ooh. And then I heard that he was going to do real puppetry. He was working on making the beast beastly and nasty, and it was going to be an actual person in a suit, just like the Fawn from Pan's Labyrinth or any of the extras in the Hellboy movies. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm down with this. And then he's still working on it. Okay, cool. We didn't get your Hobbit movies, but come on, Guillermo, give me it. And then he went to do something else because Disney apparently told him, dude, you need to calm down with the gothic imagery. So then he built a house and filmed Crimson Peak.
And then Disney went and hired Tim Burton to do Dumbo. Speaking of gothic imagery. But continue.
No, so and then I heard it was a musical and they're basically re-singing everything. And I just was like, no. My wife went and saw it with some of her girlfriends and she came back and told me about it and how she liked it. And I'm like, okay. She's like, some of the new songs are great. I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I'm good. Which is really funny because when we were watching the 3D Beauty and the Beast, she was like, this is worthless. Why are we watching this in 3D? I'm like, shh. But then she's trying to sell me on the live action remake, and I'm like, shh to you. I haven't seen it. I probably never will.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Like you said, it's pretty much a shot-for-shot remake. There were some things that they did that I really enjoyed. There were other decisions that they made that I did not enjoy. One of them was like trying to break the uncanny valley, which I showed you a clip of that when they're doing Something There, I think is the name of the song. Like there's something there that wasn't there before. They have the scene where the beast is gonna like start drinking his porridge with Belle in a proper way. they have him just like lumbering
Yeah.
towards her. But the way they have him moving makes no sense. It looks like he has like a limp, but he doesn't have a limp. Like it's just the way the beast walks. And it breaks the uncanny valley to the point where you're back into the uncanny valley.
Right.
And you watch behind the scenes stuff where they have Dan Stevens on stilts and he's just in this big green muscle suit. There's rumors that he was on set in like actual practical effect makeup and that they just digitally covered his face, which is obviously not true.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff in there that I did enjoy. Evermore is a great song.
Yeah, I've heard that.
How Does a Moment Last Forever, which was written by Celine Dion for her dead husband. Disney came to her and said, hey, we want a song that we can put into Beauty and the Beast, which Beauty and the Beast is kind of Celine Dion's launching point. It, like being in that duet kind of vaulted her career. So she's like, hell yeah, I'll gladly do a song. And the song actually ended up being in the movie, but the song is very cut down and it's meant to be a credits song. But it's a beautiful song. There's some really great stuff in there. One, it's a shot-for-shot remake. Two, it's not as lively.
Yeah.
Be Our Guest, they slow it down a little bit.
Weird.
And Ewan McGregor does a great job with it, but again, like, okay, can you pick it up? Like this sounds great, but there's just something a little off about this. Same thing with the ballroom scene, the Beauty and the Beast scene.
Yeah.
Emma Thompson sounds like she's trying to emulate. Oh god, what was the original Mrs. Potts name? Murder, She Wrote. If my computer will.
Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury. Yes, thank you. So Emma Thompson sounds like she's trying to emulate Angela Lansbury, but also trying not to sound like Angela Lansbury. So it's really weird. And the ballroom scene, like in the animated movie, the money shot is you've got that chandelier, like you've got the Phantom of the Opera style chandelier lighting up this giant gold room. It's just Belle and the Beast just having this moment. And in the movie, there's like 9 or 12 chandeliers surrounding the room, and it's a very dark room.
Weird.
And the money shot isn't like in the movie you have the dome with the art and everything in the original one. In this one, it's still fairly dark, and the moment is they do the spin move, the connection between them is so great that like the stars show up in the room or something. That's supposed to be your money shot, and I'm like, I've seen that. It didn't give me the chills that like the original did. But there's some really good stuff. Like Belle's interested in what happened to her mother. Her father won't tell her the story of how she died, but he'll tell her like everything else about her. It's good, but there's just something missing in it, and it feels partially like what's missing is a little bit of soul, which is kind of weird to say in a musical.
I can see that.
And then you also have Luke Evans as Gaston, which he looks the part, but he doesn't have that bravado. He's not bulky enough. Like when they're singing Gaston, he's like, I'm roughly the size of a barge. Like, you're a twig. Like I'm a little pudgier than you, but I'm roughly about the same size. Like I may not be as toned, but I think I'm close enough to your size. It just feels like there's something missing in it. And I think part of that is a little bit of heart. Like it feels like everyone involved is like, yeah, let's do this shot and let's do this shot. And then they're just like playing Beauty and the Beast. Like they're let's do this part. And it just feels like they filmed that moment and they weren't really like putting their hearts into it. I think that's where this topic kind of comes from is, are these movies necessary?
Yeah.
If you're not going to put a lot of heart and soul into it, if you're not going to try and make it something a little bit new, you're just trying to literally remake what they had already done in a shot-for-shot remake or make a home video of it, it'll make you money, but it's not going to last.
No, and that's the thing kind of concerns me about Mulan. They're going to film that, and the director on it was all no songs. This is going to be honest and earnest, a war movie, and the tale of Mulan. And then after Beauty and the Beast came out, they updated and were like, oh yeah, we're gonna have Be a Man in there. It's like, so it's gonna be a gritty war movie, and then all of a sudden, Be a Man as strong as ever.
Which, backtracking a little bit here, I just looked up the Oscar noms, which neither How Does a Moment Last Forever or Evermore were nominated for an Oscar song. I think that's a little ridiculous. I don't know any of these. This Is Me by Justin Paul and Benj Pasek. Remember Me by Robert Lopez, Kristen Anderson Lopez.
Remember Me, that's from Coco.
Okay.
That's a really good song.
I haven't seen Coco yet. I need to.
Okay.
Mystery of Love by Sufjan
Dunno.
Stevens. Stand Up for Something by Common and Diane Warren. I don't know why, but I just don't like Common. I think it's just because of his name. Go by your real name, dude.
I couldn't put him out of a crowd, unfortunately. Every time I hear his name, I'm like, he sang that?
I don't know if I've ever heard a song by him. I just know he's in John Wick 2.
Oh, okay, I know who he is. I can pick him out.
And then Mighty River by Mary J. Blige, Raphael Sadiq, and Tora Stinson. Those are your best original song nominations. I think it's a crime that at least one of those two songs isn't nominated, because those are great songs.
Oh, no,
and
I've listened to those. I haven't listened to the other ones sung by Emma Watson, because I've heard there's a little auto-tuning going on.
And a few of them, I'm sure, but it's not really noticeable in my opinion.
But I did listen to the Evermore one and the other one. The two new ones I actually listened to, because I'm like, okay, what are these? And
yeah, How Does a Moment Last Forever is really
There you
good,
go.
especially the Celine Dion version. The movie version is fine too. Evermore, like, Dan Stevens owned that song. Like, they have Josh Groban doing that song in the soundtrack, and Dan Stevens outdoes Josh Groban. So I think it's a little bit of a crime that they didn't get a nomination for either of those. I blame Screen Junkies, because Screen Junkies in their honest trailer of this movie said that the song is Oscar bait. So I'm giving them the proverbial middle finger. Not that I give them any of my clicks anymore either.
No, I unsubbed months ago.
So Beauty and the Beast, yeah, kind of hit and miss. We've got movies coming out in the next couple of years. 2018, the Wikipedia page lists Christopher Robin as a live-action remake.
That is not a live-action remake. This actually just is supposed to be a documentary, not documentary, a biopic about the child Christopher Robin who inspired it.
Yeah. Which is directed by Mark Forster, the guy who did Finding Neverland and also Quantum of Solace, which when they announced he was doing Quantum of Solace, I was like, hell yeah, I loved Finding Neverland. And then he did Quantum of Solace. I was like, wow, that was not very good.
I blame it on the writer's strike.
Yeah, that played a big part to it. Tim Burton is also directing Dumbo.
Whatever.
Which, no thank you. I pretty much will be refusing to see that. Aladdin being directed by Guy Ritchie. I'm probably going to see that mostly out of curiosity. I want to see what Will Smith does as the genie, and I want to see if they actually make this a musical or not.
I want to see that. I don't like Guy Ritchie very much. I'm kind of really over him, especially after his King Arthur. God, and I had the free screening to go see that. I did, and I was kind of pissed.
Give me my money back.
Well, have you seen it yet?
No, I don't want to.
Oh, don't. Okay, so all right, you know the movie, the whole the trailer has all those massive elephants and explosion and war thing.
No, I don't remember anything about the trailers, honestly.
Okay, good. Well, I don't remember much about it, the movie, other than that happened, and that was all. A lot of the action for the trailers was all in the first 3 minutes. It was about the war that happened that caused the sword to become like stuck into the stone.
Weird.
Yeah, it was crap.
So I'm still interested in the Aladdin movie, though, just because, again, I want to see what Will Smith brings to it, and I want to see how Guy Ritchie actually does a Disney movie.
I want to see what Will Smith brings, but at the same time, I'm not sure there's much Will Smith left in there.
Well, I mean, they're basically just going to let him Suicide Squad it, where, just be Will Smith, but, it's Disney, so PG.
Yeah, but I just got that on Bright, and it wasn't very good. I liked Bright. But I liked Bright despite the direction, which was, let's film a gritty cop movie and no lights anywhere. We're all doing this in dark with flashlights and elves. Okay? And
they got to save budget somewhere.
And Will, come closer. You've read the script, right? Yeah. Good. Now I need you to do one thing. Yeah. Will Smith it. I can do that. And it was just, I don't know. The best part about that movie was the weird-ass story, and some of the world building was creepy. And Joel Edgerton was really earnest, and the lady who I can't remember, they picked up who had the wand. She was good, but he was just so flat. I really just wonder what happened to his charisma. Like 10 years ago, someone walked up to him and turned it off. Kind of like I think that happened with after they.
M. Night Shyamalan and After Earth just kind of killed it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Matthew Broderick. How do you have Ferris Bueller's Day Off? A charming, engaging, amazing guy, and then you watch him anytime in the last 25 years
since Godzilla.
Yeah, something happened.
Well, I mean, even he was the voice of old Simba in The Lion King, and even then he's still kind of flat.
Yeah, there was It's like someone walked over and said, "Yeah, your charisma got tapped out, man. Sorry."
He was in a made-for-TV remake of The Music Man, which The Music Man is one of my favorite musicals ever.
Yeah.
And you need charisma for that role. And I'm just like, this is so boring.
Oh, because I heard so many good things about the producers, and the producers was all the nominations, all the awards, all the Broadway stuff. How amazing they were on stage! How amazing Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick selling out for years on end. This show will never end. And so they filmed it, and I went, and I listened to the soundtrack, and I was like, "Wow, this is nice. This is good. I like this." I remember the original producers movie. Okay, cool. I'm never going to get a chance to see this because was 10, 12 years ago, so I was a teenager. I'm not going to afford it. But then they filmed the movie of it, and I'm like, who the hell paid to see this? I mean, Nathan Lane was good, but he was just there, and every time he popped on screen, he was like, "We're going to make a show."
Wasn't that one of Mel Brooks' last movies?
No, Mel Brooks did not direct that.
Okay.
That is based off the play, though.
Okay.
That he oversaw. Yeah.
Okay, so getting back on track to these Disney movies, Dumbo is scheduled to be released March 29th, 2019. So that's a few weeks after Captain Marvel comes out. I honestly don't know if there's an audience for Dumbo. People love the look of the character, but I really don't know if anyone's going to be like, I gotta see Dumbo.
I gotta see an elephant.
It's gonna be the Hot Topic kids that have to go see a Tim Burton movie. And I mean Tim Burton, which I mean that's not even in this list either that we've talked about. The Alice movies, which aren't technically remakes, they're sequels.
No, I guess they count though.
Yeah, but we haven't even talked about those. I haven't seen them honestly because I don't want to.
The first one wasn't bad.
I don't know. I don't believe you.
The second one was
terrible. Shit.
It existed as a movie in and of itself.
But I don't know how and why Disney keeps... it's got to be the Hot Topic crowd that Disney keeps giving these Tim Burton movies out.
Oh, no, well...
Because... Yeah. But again, I don't know if there's an audience for Dumbo. It's just a weird movie to try and translate, but, I mean, they've got this new CGI technology, so they're going to do it. And then that's coming out March 29th, 2019. Aladdin is slated for May 24th, 2019.
Oh, yeah, great. Thank you.
Which they are filming that, so that's probably going to be coming out sometime next year. The Lion King is slated for July 19th, 2019. So they're
doing 3 next year?
They're doing 3 next year.
Ugh.
Which The Lion King is obviously going to be like the moneymaker, and that's also coming out on my birthday weekend, so I got to find time for that. The next one that is slated with an actual release date is Mulan, which is slated as December 20th, 2019. But there's also a movie coming out that same day called Star Wars. So that's probably getting bumped.
No, you got to counter program. You got to counter program.
Which, as far as I'm aware, they've only cast the role of Mulan, so I'm sure that date is like needs to be changed or updated on Wikipedia to TBD because they just cast Mulan. They probably barely have a script together, and they haven't even started filming. So there's no way this is coming out in 2019. No. But I'm sure that'll be the next one after The Lion King.
Yeah.
The next one up here is we've got a Cruella movie, which I'm guessing is going to be along the lines of Maleficent.
Yep.
Where they're going to flip it, which I don't know how you flip Puppy Murderer.
It turns out that the families are hoarders, and that she's rescuing them. Come on, man. 101 Dalmatians in that one household. That's obviously a hoarding problem. She's rescuing them.
They didn't have 101 at first. They had 15.
Yeah, but they let them breed.
Well, the 15 are after they breeded.
No,
Breaded?
Breaded. Breeded. Whatever.
Nemesi. And then after that is The Jungle Book 2, directed by Jon Favreau. Mm-hmm. And then there's also a Little Mermaid, which there's a Little Mermaid movie coming out this year as well, which looks awful.
Yeah,
the mermaid is a circus act, and it's basically Free Willy, but with a mermaid.
Yep, nope.
That one's being directed by Rob Marshall, who is largely well known for his directing on Memoirs of a Geisha.
And I believe...
Following that up with
Pirates 4.
With Pirates 4.
Yep. Into
the Woods. He's also directing Mary Poppins Returns, so he's got a pretty well-established Disney relationship all of a sudden. I don't know how I feel about the Little Mermaid remake. I don't believe that's the one. Music is being written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yep.
But I'm betting they're going to have at least like Kiss the Girl and Under the Sea in there.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Maleficent 2 is, again, still in talks to be done. There's a Pinocchio remake that's in talks.
Jon Favreau was attached to that at one point, too.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is in talk. There's screenplays and producers attached. Now, this one I would be interested in. The Sword in the Stone.
Well, that's because we already have that, though. I mean, we just had King Arthur from Guy Ritchie. You know, that's the thing. If Aladdin does well, they're going to let him try again.
Well, there is a director attached to The Sword in the Stone. Is Juan Carlos Fresnadillo?
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Script by Brian Cogman, producer Brigham Taylor. I would be interested in that one, though. Especially if they could get someone like Patrick Stewart to be Merlin. I would be very interested in that if they could do something like that.
But we already had Excalibur, and that was fantastic. You don't like Excalibur?
I don't know if I've actually seen it. I just felt like going mad.
Oh, like the 80s Excalibur with I think it was Sean Connery.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I thought there was a newer Excalibur.
No.
And then there's 2 Peter Pan properties, one called Peter Pan, one called Tink. They would be separate movies, but obviously they would probably bring whoever plays Tinkerbell into the Peter Pan movie. David Lowery is slated to direct Peter Pan. Peter Pan could work too, but I mean, it's very hard to do a live action Peter Pan.
They nailed it with Allison Williams. So, yeah.
That's the musical. And you're hilarious.
I don't know. I'm just not really that interested in any of them. I kind of am curious about Mulan if they take it as serious property, but there's a reason the movies are classics, and I haven't seen one come out yet that I've been like, well, this is the definitive version of this, because we've had 7 or 8 shots now. I mean, they're going to make money. They're going to keep doing them. Disney's basically guaranteed $300 or $400 million at the box office, which pays for the movies. But I need to see something that definitively changes my opinion of what came before it. I mean, it can be done. I mean, there was the Thing from Outer Space that John Carpenter made. The Thing, there are remakes that work, that change the genre and make it a definitive milestone. Disney's working against themselves here.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not necessarily working against themselves. They're working on the money train, because again, if the movie is bad, personal story, I saw the last Airbender movie that shall not ever be named again, and it was awful. I was like, this is supposed to be, this is a Nickelodeon property? What the hell is this? But like the premise of it, where you have this being that can manipulate all 4 elements within this universe that everyone has powers in, and he's supposed to bring balance, and he's supposed to save the world. How is he supposed to save the world? What's the real threat besides ending the war? So it made me want to go and check out Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was so bad I went to check out the original property, and I love that. I had that weekend off of work, and I watched all 3 seasons, all 74 episodes in a 3-day period. I slept maybe 6 hours a night and just kept going.
Damn.
And I was completely enthralled within the first episode, and maybe that's what Disney's doing, is they're trying to put out mediocre to okay products, so people can go back and be like, I just want to watch this, the good one. So I mean, I have hope for The Lion King. The Lion King has an amazing cast. My biggest fear is James Earl Jones is gonna Rogue One it, where his Darth Vader just sounds so old, which I mean, it's to be expected. He's older. He's 30 years older from the last time we heard him do Darth Vader.
86, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not going to sound what we remember it to be. You don't have to bring him back as Mufasa. It's nice that you did, because I mean, you can't replicate that voice. No. If he's going to sound like old man Mufasa, then the death scene is going to be like, well, he was old anyway.
It would be fantastic if they just brought him out to give a few lines and then do a slight reverb to them and actually have them be just slices original audio from the first movie in, even if it doesn't make sense. Dad, what's for dinner? The darkness is where our kingdom ends. Okay.
You must never go there.
How's Mom?
So
wherever the sun shines.
I really wish they would have brought back Jonathan Taylor Thomas, though. Nothing says Africa like a skinny blonde white boy. No, Donald Glover needs to be adult Simba. I'm sorry.
No, but only in the U.S. Matthew Broderick dubs outside the country. Just to piss some people off.
It's late. We're getting tired.
I'm getting punch drunk.
So with that, we're going to call it a night. These Disney movies, do they need to happen?
No.
Not really. But, I mean, they're making Disney money. They're making Disney enough money where they can... I'm getting so stuffed up, I think I'm sounding a little nasally. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm fighting something, and it's just... yeah, Disney, like, these are making them enough money where they can buy Fox and get Fantastic Four and X-Men back. And I'm sure Sony... That's something we didn't talk about. Sony apparently is going through some tough times. We'll have to talk about that next week.
Yep.
Yeah, so like maybe in the next year or two, Disney will be able to buy back Spider-Man too. So yeah, with that, do these Disney movies need to happen? No, but they're making Disney money, and it's letting Disney do what they do to make good stuff as well. So with that, Alex, I need to do God, I'm just so ready to go to bed, and I'm ready to take some NyQuil and get some Sinex and get this crap out of my nose.
I don't do social media, so there's no reason to plug me.
Yep, Alex doesn't do social media. He's not sociable on the interwebs. You can find the Talking Smack page. Again, Smack is spelled SMAC, superheroes, movies, animation, and comics. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube. You can also tweet at us at Talking Smack Pod. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or comments that you want to share, you can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. And you can find me on Twitter at Josh_Scar. Scar is spelled SKAAR. And like Scar, son of Hulk. And Alex, please let us know who the end theme is by this week.
This is truly a privilege. We have the Jimmy Page remaster of our theme music.
Who's Jimmy Page?
Jimmy Page, the guitarist of Led Zeppelin.
I didn't follow Led Zeppelin.
You bastard. Well, as you know...
Sorry, I didn't do drugs in high school.
Actually, I found out the drive here is 4 Led Zeppelin songs long. Because Kashmir was finishing as I got...
That's not Stairway, right?
No. So, Jimmy Page, he's remastering it. He's a very important person. He's the guy who did Stairway to Heaven, yes. He's going to put our remaster, on the B-side of Physical Graffiti when it's remastered and released later this year.
Man, no wonder we didn't get into C2E2. We have no money. And with that, roll the theme music.